Studio, and now we go to Washington, D.C. to check in with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. Back in Mississippi over the weekend, had a travel day, and now back in our nation's capital. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on, and congratulations, Richard, on your new position. I think everybody's pretty excited about that. I did a tribute to Paul Gallo on the Senate floor, which was very special to me last week. But congratulations, and I'm glad you're where you are.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words, and what an incredible moment to honor Paul and his family from you. I know that was a great friendship for you, in addition to a working relationship that developed over a long period of time, and that's very kind of you.
Well, it was my honor to be able to do that. I assure you. I was glad that we had the ability to go to the Senate floor and do it worldwide, and that's what it needed to be, because he will always be part of Mississippi's story, and just a really nice time, honor for me to do it. But it is cold in Washington, D.C. I woke up and looked at my phone. It said 18 degrees, and but that's the only thing cold. I assure you, everything else here is hot, and it is popping. And when I was listening to you earlier, you were talking about the carnival season, the Mardi Gras of the Gulf Coast. I thought you were talking about Washington, D.C., because it's carnival season here, and I love every ride I am getting on. It is truly amazing what is happening, and I'm so glad that I've got a front row seat, because it's truly historic. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. And we're pretty excited about what's going on, eager to get to work. It's not hard to get on that plane and get here, because it's so much fun and a day of reckoning.
Well, and in terms of the schedule, it feels like you and your colleagues have been operating at a breakneck pace since Inauguration Day, and in some cases since before Inauguration Day, in terms of kind of laying the groundwork to get ready for these confirmation hearings. It feels a little crazy that they've dragged out a month. Maybe you can tell us that that's not uncommon at all. But we get the news yesterday that the Kash Patel hearing in particular is going forward. Procedural vote moves it forward, cloture coming, which means full Senate vote possibly today, most likely tomorrow?
Most likely tomorrow. I was texting with Kash last night, actually. He and I are pretty good friends. And we think it's going to be tomorrow. You know, we had the motion to proceed last night, and but they're scared to death of him. It is amazing the fight that the Democrats have put up to try to slow this process as much as possible. They are extremely difficult to work with, and obviously purposely extremely difficult. But it does take time. You know, you had your cloture votes, and the clock starts ticking for 30 hours of debate, and they can yield back time if they would want to, because they know we have the votes to approve all of this. But they love to make you sit there for 30 hours and wait. And, you know, they take up time on the floor, which they can go all night long, which means, you know, somebody has to sit in a chair and preside. But, you know, that's okay. We've been in battles before, but we've just never had a team like this before since I have been here that work together. It's in unison. We're on the same page. It's like, you know, when you get a really good sporting team, whether it's soccer, basketball, football, and you count on your teammates and you know where everybody's strength is, and you're not afraid to pass them the ball because you know what they're going to do with it. Yeah. So it is a great time on our side to get these confirmations there, to get to know, you know, the ones that I didn't know previously. But the American people are so excited about this. I mean, Richard, I have never seen this country so engaged. You know,
I don't think there's any question about that.
No, it's just historic. The Elon Musketeers, as we call them. I mean,
let me ask you this about you talked about the team. Just to take that analogy a step farther, sometimes the opponent can be the reason that a team comes together. And when this cabinet process first began, there were a lot of people that looked at this and were like, I don't know that he's going to get everybody confirmed, because there were legitimate questions even among some Republican senators. As Democrats have handled this process the way they have handled it, has that created more resolve on the Republican side to get all of the president's nominees confirmed, maybe even more so than originally would have been the case?
I would say yes. I mean, cabinet confirmations, I wasn't here when Trump came in on the first round. And so I really don't know what the process was like then. Of course, I was when Biden was bringing up his that were truly unbelievable. But this time around, I mean, you just have to trust the gut of the president at times. And, he and I battled back and forth on some that, didn't survive and they, withdrew. But he does not put you in a position if he doesn't 100% trust you and 100% has confidence. We talk about the DEI hires. My friend that phrased it, the MEI hires, the merit, experience, and intelligence. And you
put Scott Bessent at the top of that list, right?
I'm sorry?
Scott Bessent goes at the top of that list, right? At Treasury?
Oh, no doubt. Scott is going to do a great job. I had the opportunity to get to know Scott before he entered into this arena. And, great South Carolina guy. But, Marco Rubio, now he's the one I'm going to really miss in the Senate. But the best Secretary of State he could have chosen, in my opinion. And it is just the dream team. Most of them I do know personally. Some of them, I'm having to get to know, but Lee Zeldin, Doug Burgum, the folks, Doug Collins at Veterans Affairs, Pam Bondi has been a good friend for a long time, and Brooke Rollins is Secretary of Ag. So John Ratcliffe, of course, came from the House, and the other ones, you just bring them in your office and you sit down, and of course the president is always, telling me things about them. I have a really good relationship with the president, which is another story of surreal. But, he's telling me things and the opportunities to visit with them. I was in Mar-a-Lago, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, and had the opportunity to sit down with Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce, that we voted on last night.
I watched that. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I watched the old interview that he did last night. Probably should have gone to sleep. It's about a half an hour interview where he walks through his experience on September 11th. It is the most captivating story. And it's like you can't. So forgive me for derailing your thought, but you mentioned his name, and it's very much top of mind right now.
Oh, well, it's like I said, everybody's engaged. Everybody's going back and watching those things, and it's so refreshing, so rejuvenating that, we have an administration that's all walk, and people have confidence in that. And, the whole country's just intrigued by what's happening. It's pretty funny to me. It's pretty unbelievable how many people are so engaged, paying attention, that they're watching C-SPAN at night. I get texts telling me what I have on, what I'm wearing, and they'll tell me what color my suit is, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, it's 10:15 or 11:15 at home, and you guys are up watching C-SPAN because they're so intrigued. They're excited about the future of our country. And it was pretty funny. We were trying to get Pete confirmed and had to wake up JD in the middle of the night for the tie vote. We were waiting on JD standing there, and he told me, he said, Cindy, I was sound asleep, but because he was exhausted. And Juan Smith from Brookhaven texts me to let me know he's pulling up at the Capitol. He's about to walk in the door as we're on the Senate floor. And I'm thinking, incredible, but what a great, great opportunity that we have in front of us, that Americans are so excited, and they're wanting to be a part of this. They're engaged and people ask me, why do you think that? And I said, it's because of what we've been through the last 4 years. That's exactly the reason people are engaged and wanting to be a part of this. And, the president made so many promises. He's fulfilling them. And it's trust. You see the potential for prosperity now, for confidence that, yeah, let's go ahead and expand this business, or let's go ahead and, buy a
Senator,
new home,
need to take a quick timeout. We'll be right back. More with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith on the other time of this break. Good morning. We're visiting with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. She said 18 degrees in Washington, D.C., parts of North Mississippi with some snow and some ice on the roads this morning, but plenty of heat in the halls of the Capitol. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, thanks again for spending some time with us this morning. I want to go back to Kash Patel. You mentioned your relationship with him. Do you think he is ready for what he is walking into as leader of the FBI? We all believe the confirmation is going to happen, that the votes are there. Do you think he fully recognizes how big of a cesspool that organization has become?
He really does. There's so many things, Richard, that during the previous administration, the Biden administration, that was discovered and uncovered that we would have never known about without Kash Patel. I mean, he is so driven. He is extremely smart, and I think he's coming in with eyes wide open. I think Kash is ready for that, and it's kind of like he just surfaced. I mean, when he really dug into, when they went in Mar-a-Lago, and they searched the president's home, the things that were maybe not appropriate done before then, he discovered those things, the things that were just totally illegal that happened. And he's very tenacious. He is not going to let up. And I don't know if you watch his hearing, but, he's so prepared. No one's going to get an upper hand on Kash Patel.
Is it fixable? Does he believe it's fixable?
There's no way we cannot try to fix it. And it's a tall drink of water. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have to go in and do the assessments, the evaluations, which, we've had 4 years to get ready for this administration. So it's not like we're flat-footed and we're starting to just walk in the door and to, look for things to reveal. He's been working on this a long time. So when you know where a lot of the glaring issues are and starting with those, if anybody can get it done, I truly think Kash can. He's got to have a lot of help. He's got to surround himself. But, it's just so refreshing that you've got somebody going in there to do it. And it's so sad. Everybody loves the FBI. They love an FBI T-shirt. They want that confidence restored. They want that image to be bright again and respectable. And that's the direction we're heading. And it's going to take a lot of work. But you've got some people in here who have great work ethic that are more than determined to get it done.
Visiting with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, I hope this question isn't inappropriate. You have a senior senator who's been in a position of power for a really long time, in Mitch McConnell, who is no longer in a position of power. He has voted against virtually every cabinet position that President Trump has put in place. What's going on there? Is it bitterness? Is it that he just doesn't like the president? Do you have any insight that you can share without getting yourself into trouble on that?
I think he's just swinging at the president. Those are just swings at Donald J. Trump. And, there's just a lot of personal issues there. And, not that Trump hadn't swung at him, too. So I just really think that this is his opportunity to make a statement, and he's making that statement.
Really interesting executive order that the president signed yesterday with regard to in vitro fertilization treatments and other things for women. It's funny, we heard during the campaign that Donald Trump was a threat to women, that he was a threat to reproductive rights, that this was all going to change. How significant in your mind is that executive order from yesterday with regard to trying to make IVF more readily available and also more affordable for women?
Oh, I think it's extremely important. You've got so many families. Probably most of your listeners right now can name you someone that's been through that process, and it is expensive, and it's a tough process. But the science has just proven to be so great there with the advances made, and America's watching that. And you're right. They say, "Oh, he hates women," and which is so.
Do you
such
see
nonsense.
the cabinet?
Yeah, such nonsense. But, I was part of having to kill a bill that the Democrats put out in front of us that I had to go to the floor and object, and I single-handedly killed the bill. They wanted it to look like that they were really supporting IVF, but the bill also legalized cloning and other things in there. So, unfortunately, I had to kill it, which it wouldn't have gone nearly this far in advancement. But the other things that were in the bill, just we could not live with. So it's really, I'm so happy that we have this coming forward. I was truly expecting this. There's not a surprise there. And it will bring such light to this. And hopefully, insurance companies can help with these things. But you have so much support for IVF in this country, and we need it.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that he's coming forward with that executive order that he signed yesterday. So he's definitely supporting women, always has. He's supported minorities. These people that are screaming now that are so anti-Trump, the hit dog barks, as my chief says so much. And the ones that, and I mean, we're just watching their heads explode. Because the things that he's changing are just, they're scared of him, but it's the ones that you better keep a close eye on that are objecting to these things.
Visiting with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, just a couple of minutes left. I'd like to try and hit on a couple of things before we wrap up. Because of your background, you've talked very openly about this in the past. You have not just a soft spot, but a great deal of passion for farmers, especially in your home state of Mississippi. We know, and we've talked about this in the past when we visited, that the farmers are struggling right now. In terms of a new farm bill, I know there's some things that have to happen, some budget stuff. We got to get through the confirmations. How quickly are we going to get a farm bill in place that is helpful for the farmers, not just in Mississippi, but across the country?
Well, we're working diligently, I can say that, and it is very glaring. The numbers don't lie. Rural America, I mean, in the ag world, it truly is in a crisis mode. I've been at this a long time, Richard. But when the farm income has dropped to roughly $41 billion in 2 years, that's the worst decline we've ever seen. When I have ag lenders that come to me and say, we cannot finance these folks next year because the input costs are so dramatic that there's no way it can pencil out. But our trade deficit is expected to reach a record high of $45.5 billion for fiscal year 2025. And, I mean, we used to really brag about our ag trade surplus.
Right.
And when you're looking at a deficit of that, but it's because of the input cost, it's because the crop prices are lower than they were 15 years ago. There's a lot of reasons for these things. But we are definitely working to provide a federal farm safety net to get that in there. And I have full confidence. Chairman Bozeman, just from our neighbor up there in Arkansas, he truly has the ability to produce a farm bill. We're all in step. I'm truly excited about Secretary of Ag, Brooke Rollins, who was sworn in last week.
Right.
Brooke gets it. Brooke, she's in Texas. Her kids, she's grown up, raising beef cattle. Her kids show cattle. She's extremely smart. She was really the one that I wanted to land there when we were narrowing those names down to who would do a great job. And, she said in the hearing, because I've asked all the nominees, I said, where were you when the president called you and asked you to serve in his cabinet? She said, I was in the Walmart parking lot in Newton, Mississippi.
Wow.
Which we didn't expect that answer. She was traveling. She's a huge Texas A&M fan, headed to the Auburn game. But, we're here to help the farmers. We're here to say, look, we've got folks in place. We understand. We get it. We're the ones that feed you. And anybody that knows me, they know that I am extremely responsive to the farmers. I'm their defender. And when things get in the way, regulations of whatever it is, I'm going to lead the charge on making sure we get through those rough spots and let them do their jobs and feed this country. The production of agriculture is so critical. It's such a national security issue. And, we've got to be able to be food dependent. We can't depend on other countries to provide our commodities. So we want a fair trading market. And, I love meeting with folks all over the country on different issues. But, that's my wheelhouse, and that's what I enjoy, and just glad to be here to be part of this farm bill because we have a lot of people extremely determined.
I wish we had more time, but we thank you for your time this morning. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, look forward to visiting with you in the future, and keep going. There's a lot of work to be done. Keep plugging. Thanks so much.
Thank you, and stay warm.
Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. This is Mornings with Richard Cross.